You're listening to the Travis Makes Money podcast. What's going on, money makers? Welcome back to the Travis Makes Money podcast, where it's our mission to help you make more money. Today on the show, we're going to talk a little bit about sales and starting companies with my old friend, who is now kind of a new friend because we just reconnected and it's been a long time since we connected. Seth Devey. Seth built a solar and roofing business to annual revenue of $50 million before selling it in 2022. Now he owns some other businesses in the golf and pest control spaces. So right up my alley, really, honestly. And we're going to have an amazing conversation. Before we jump into that, if you're tuning in, you're wondering how I build relationships with the people that I have on the show. It's been through the podcast itself. A good podcast can help you explode your network, grow your personal brand, create better content for social media, sharpen your expertise, and then could actually pay you sponsorship dollars to do all of that, which is pretty cool. So I'm reopening my calendar for one or two one-on-one coaching clients. If you are already running a 7, 8, or 9-figure business and any of what I just said sounds appealing, head over to travischappell.com/coaching. There's a quick application right there. We'll see if we might be a good fit to work together to get your podcast out into the world. travischappell.com/coaching. Seth, what's up, dude? Welcome to the show.
Hey man, happy to be here, dude. Happy to reconnect. It's like I said, it's been a long time and
It's
excited to be on here with you
it's been a
today.
little while, dude. I was even trying to think before we hit record, like how the connection even came about. But as I remember it,
Yeah,
it was basically like I was knocking doors for, I want to say solar at this time. It could have been, no, it was alarms. I think it was alarms. I think I was knocking doors for alarms. And then
yeah,
somebody introduced me to you because you had just branched off and started your own solar company after working for another big solar company for a while, right? So that was
yeah,
right around the time
yeah.
we connected, which had to have been like 2015.
2015, I was what's that kid's name? Jake? You guys knew each other from church or something like that? Jake, short guy.
Oh, hey, nice.
And nice, dude. Yeah, Jacob
Yeah,
and
okay.
nice. Yeah. I think it was
That's
because you knew him from church stuff, right?
I knew him from, yeah, from college, and we sold
Yeah.
solar in college together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it was, dude. That's what it was. Because I connected with him and he kind of connected me with this group. And then shortly after that, yeah, I started my own company. So yeah.
Got it. So where were you knocking for solar for a different company then before?
Yeah. So I ran again, my short story here is I was going to college and had no clue what I wanted to do. It wasn't anything traditional like be a lawyer or a doctor or anything like that. I wasn't sure. And so I started selling door-to-door pest control and my eyes were open. Like I went from, washing dishes, making $6 an hour to, my first summer I went out. And I was never like a golden door guy. I was never crushing the numbers, but I made about $22,000 my first summer.
Wow.
And I was like, wow, I can make money in real money. And then
Yeah.
it just progressed from there. The next summer I made 35 grand. Next summer after that, I made about 48. And then the
So
summer
you
after
were
that,
only
about
doing summer
65.
programs then.
Correct. Yeah, I was just doing summer programs, and I mean, again, door-to-door sales is, a lot of people haven't done it, but I think the number one thing that it did for me was just open my eyes to the potential. Like I just,
Sure.
so my last summer I did 65 grand in 4 months. So I'm sitting there in my mind and I'm like, I'm worth 15, 16 grand a month. I'm 23, 24 years old, no education, and I'm making more than my dad, more than a lot of people that were around me at that time. I don't come from a very wealthy family, no rich uncle, just really honestly very very low wealth in my family and my network. So
Yeah.
yeah, it opened my eyes and like I was like, wow, I'm at the time I believed, all right, I'm worth $200,000. I can make a lot of money. And then if I learn a skill set or I build a business, I should be able to make even more money than that. So it just removed that ceiling in my mind of what I
Yeah.
was worth and what I could do. So
Yeah, what you're capable of, you know what I mean? And then it's really difficult to like go take a job after you do that. You know what I mean?
yes,
It's like every starting salary is lower than what I made this past summer in 4 months knocking doors. It's really difficult to imagine
absolutely.
doing
Well, it
something
was
like
good.
that.
It was good for me because it triggered me dropping out of college and saying, all right, I'm going to stay in sales. And then I got into solar in 2012. And what I was doing is I was running solar team or sales teams across the nation for a company initially. And then when we met each other, I actually jumped on with the company. They kind of, they approached me, shared some things. in the sales world, there's also a lot of uh, half truths. And so a company recruited me on, and I left the company where I was working at, and I moved up to Sacramento, and they hadn't been honest. And so I was with them like 8 months, and that's what triggered me to start my own business. I got done with them.
If you don't want to name the company on the recording, we'll bleep it out. But what was that
Okay.
company? Yes,
Yeah. Yeah. So
that was
they,
the pitch.
and they're not bad dudes. I mean, I'm not a big fan of the owner, but yeah, they, and I burnt some bridges, when I left, because I brought a bunch of sales guys with me. They couldn't handle the install volume. We went from, they did like 22 sales a month before we got there. 2 months later, we did 129 sales,
Oh
and
gosh.
they couldn't fulfill, in solar, like at the beginning stages, like they couldn't install. So we're getting 4 or 5 month installs.
Yeah.
It all kind of just fell apart underneath me. And I'm like, all right, I moved here. What do I do? And my background is construction, and my background after doing door to door was sales. And I'm like, I know how to sell home improvement. And so I launched my business, and
And
in
that was
2000,
Green Day Solar.
yeah, Green Day
Yeah.
Power.
Well, I don't know if you remember this, bro, but I actually did a couple deals for you back in the
Oh,
day.
you
Do
did?
you remember
Because
that?
weren't you in Fresno?
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah, dude.
this is kind of a cool side hustle story for people listening. This was at a time where I was very, very unclear on what the next steps of my life are going to be. And it was actually like 2 months after I took a free podcast course online, and I was actively deciding to start a podcast. So this was like right during that time. But
That's crazy.
I had no idea what I was doing and no idea how to turn it into income. That's for damn sure. And I think I had just I hired a podcast coach that month. And so basically what ended up happening was I was just hustling whatever door-to-door products that I had on the
Yeah.
side, just so that I could piece together enough income to be able to like pay bills at the house while I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do next.
Yeah.
And most of those were coming in the form, I believe, of water purification, which I was selling at the time. And
Remember, dude.
then,
Remember.
but then the door opened for, I think it was basically, I had bought a house and I looked at our electric bill, and I was still pretty fresh from selling solar and
Yeah.
knew like, oh, this would probably actually work out for us to put some solar on the house. But I was like, if I'm going to do it, I may as well make some money off of it. So I hit you
Dude, it's
up.
funny. I remember, and something you probably didn't know, but it's interesting how like connections come and provide just simple, small pieces of value. Because for me, I've never told you this, but I was just launching, and so I had a couple small connections of guys like you that just put in a couple deals with me, and I was selling, dude. I was out hustling, knocking doors, recruiting, training, um, and but those deals that I got from a couple guys, there's another guy here named Jordan Jackman that was super helpful, and then you, those deals kind of helped fund the business and get it going, and helped me buy trucks and then hire installers and then just take it to
Nice.
the next level. And then it just exploded, man. Like the
Good.
business just went. We went from
Uh,
4 employees, about 4 or 5 employees, to 130 employees in 4 years.
wow.
Um, and yeah, revenue just exploded. And
Well,
yeah, man,
you,
I think you kind of asked, like, you talk about like people. I think people just sometimes you just got to go do the work. Like a
yeah.
lot of people like to plan the business, and the thing is, if there's no revenue, you can't pay people. If there's no revenue, you can't pay your bills. You
Yep.
can't recruit. You can't train. You can't create systems and processes, and you can't pay for CRMs. You can't pay
Yep.
for anything. And so I just tell people, while you're planning, plan in between the doors, or
Yeah.
go generate leads, or try to save
Right.
and purchase some leads and go chase some people on the phone. Or if it's business to business, dude, go hustle. Like, and when you're generating the revenue, then you can make better decisions. You can be more aggressive. You can just, you can make other plans. And
Yeah.
that's what I learned is I sold every year. My joke was I was like the number, not very high, but I was like number 8 or 9 salesperson in the company all the way up through about 40 million. And
Wow.
so I was still outperforming a lot of sales guys because I would just still go out there, and I wasn't knocking anymore. I got really good at referrals,
Sure.
just incredibly good at, I'm the owner, work through me, and they would send me their friends and family, and sold, millions and millions of dollars of solar that way.
Yeah.
So
I love the story, dude. And I love the hustle at the very beginning. One of the things that I really appreciate about the door to door industry is just the purity of it. Like you said, you can plan until you're blue in the face, but the bottom line is if you don't go knock any doors, you're not going to get any deals, and
yeah,
then you don't
yeah,
have any cash and you don't have any oxygen to continue running the business. And it was a bridge for me at that time, man, because I think I sold myself a solar deal,
yeah, yeah.
and
I
then the
remember.
day it was getting installed, I just like I just knocked a few doors around me in the neighborhood and just like, hey, I'm getting some solar installs through a buddy of mine. I used to sell solar back in the day. We have really great pricing on whatever the spiel was. And then one of my neighbors bought, and it was like the most I ever made on a solar deal, even though I was selling it full time. This was like
Yeah.
about the time that I realized that I was like, damn, I probably should have stayed in solar
Yeah,
because
the
I
dealer program came out and it just opened
exactly.
up.
I didn't realize like when I started selling, it was for the massive companies, right? So the commission structures were
Yeah.
so tiny. That's why I switched to alarms because it was like I was for an average system size for a listener for context. An average system size is what, Seth? Like 6 kilowatts.
Yeah, 67 kW. Yeah.
Yeah, 6 to 7 kilowatts. When I first started, I was getting paid $200 a kilowatt to sell these
Yeah.
deals. So it was like
Yeah.
average $1,200 on a deal. But when I started selling alarms, I was getting paid like 800-900 bucks on a deal, but I could get it installed like the same day that I sold the
Yeah.
contract and get paid out next Friday. Whereas solar, there was still a ton of municipalities that were not eager to work with solar companies. You might be punted 3 months out for an installation, depending on the local government, plus the installer that you have, the contractors
Yeah.
getting to work, and then you don't get paid your full commission until it's completely installed. And so I got out of the game. And then when I went back to you, and I think you were giving me, I don't know, I want to say it was like $800 to $1,200 a kilowatt or something like that. And I was like, oh my gosh, this all of a sudden becomes worth the wait for the
Yeah.
commission, And I
Yeah.
sold our neighbor across the street, and they happened to use a ton of electricity. And so we put like the massive, like 12 or 13 kilowatt system on this person's
Yeah.
roof. And I walked away with like 13 grand in commissions for like 30 minutes of work. But I say that to say that that's why the the common denominator for me throughout my life has always been there's three things that recessions can't take away from you. There's three things that market conditions can't take away from you. One of them is content, which is like what we're doing right now. Content will exist forever. But the two more core, the ones that are at the core of these, is your competence and your connections. The things that you're good at, the knowledge that you've gained, the experience. Like I would put knowledge and skill set into this competence section, and then connections. And it was like this is a perfect example of how I was able to piece together making sure my bills were paid at a time where I was very unsure what I was doing next, at a time where I was pivoting into a new career field that would
Yeah.
be years before it would generate income, which is the podcast. It would actually cost me more money in the meantime while I was trying to figure out how to make money doing it. But this is one of those things that I was able to piece together based on a past skill set, which was selling, and a past connection that I had with you, the owner of a new solar company and a dealer program that could pay me some like pretty solid commissions to go like put together a couple of deals and make some money in the meantime. And it's like if you're listening, that's why I love sales as a side hustle, because any 100% commission company will hire you. Like
Yep.
there's not a significant barrier to getting hired to go work for
Yeah.
these companies, and they will give you state of the art sales training for free while you're learning. Like they will do everything for you, because if you're successful, they're successful. And if you can piece together, maybe you're like, hey, this, I'm not cut out to do this full time. I'm not cut out to be on the doors 50 hours a week or whatever. It's like, cool, but can you make an extra 20 grand this year? You know what I mean? Can you make an extra
Yeah.
30 grand by doing this a little bit on the side, by taking your Saturdays and knocking for 3 or 4 hours and coming up with one deal a month that pays you 6 to 10 grand? Like, can you do that? Yeah, probably. Just about anybody can do that. You know what I mean? You might even have to go knock doors, like Seth was saying. You can just, build a referral market. Go build a bunch of good relationships with whatever realtors or lenders in your area, or insurance reps that have people that are constantly coming in that are customers and potential customers for you, and hook them up with a great referral deal. Like there's so many ways to be able to go increase the earnings and add an extra 10, 20, 30, 40, 50K a
Yeah.
year to your earnings through these kind of through these connections that you can build with other people. So anyway, so you started the company from scratch, bootstrapped the whole thing.
Yeah.
Where along the way did you start experiencing a ton of growth? Like what was the
So
kind of
yeah, so I started in 2016, and then we launched installation. So we were just selling from 2016 and 17. When in 2018 we launched, I bought trucks, brought on installers. So that was it. 2018 to 2022 were 4 years of just insanity. 2019 we almost went out of business because we were growing so fast, and we just ran out of cash because we were bootstrapped.
Wow.
There was no outside funding or anything. We tripled in size, in 2019.
Wow.
And so I was sitting there one day and I'm like, I called my wife and I'm like, I don't know how we're gonna make payroll. And she's like, what do you mean? Aren't you crushing it? I'm like, yeah, we're crushing it. But we're growing so fast. I'm buying trucks, I'm hiring, we're
Yeah.
opening offices, we bought a building. Like we're making some pretty bold moves. In 2019, we tripled the business and I bought what's now about a $4 million building, a 21,000 square foot warehouse. And I bought it instead of renting it. And now it's been a great move.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was scary back then to pay, $2+ million for a building.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we experienced some major growth and got real creative, really focused on customer service, taking care of clientele. So we actually didn't do a lot of door knocking after the first couple of years. We built out a call center and generated leads and did like a setter closer model.
Okay.
Still had guys out door knocking here and there, but we were really successful in networking and digital marketing, and yeah, had a ton of success. And
What
yeah,
was the purpose of moving into the call center model and having your own installers and things like that? Was this something where you were like, this is just what I got to do? Or were you already looking into the future and being like, look, if I ever plan on exiting this, I can't just have a sales team. That's not a sellable asset. I got to build a real
yeah.
company.
So a portion of that was definitely a part of it. Is I'm like, you can't, like, selling a sales asset is really difficult. Like you still have a lot of power with that control where you can take that and be really aggressive and get some cool things and good relationships and good opportunities. But yeah, nobody was going to buy a sales org at that time. Um, but more of it was, I actually, with my construction background, I just wanted to control the experience, control the consumer experience,
Okay.
and provide a better experience. We installed really fast. I think you experienced that. I don't know if yours were the fastest. I think we might have had to use a subcontractor for you just on the actual
Yeah, I think
install.
it was a subcontractor just because I was in a different market.
Yeah.
But I remember them going up really quickly. Like I said, I did
Yeah.
not wait
Yeah.
very
Still was
long for that
quick. Yeah.
commission.
Our operations team was really good. So we were one of the fastest installers in the state of California for about 3 years. As we got a little bit bigger, we slowed down just a little bit. But that was it. Is it that when a consumer had an issue, inverter goes out, things still go wrong with solar, even though they have really long warranties. But they would call in and we'd send a tech out right away,
Yeah.
and we fixed things right away. And our second highest salesman, he was a referral only, never knocked a door in his life, and he generated everything in the business through his customer service, but also relying on the customer service of Green Day Power. And
Wow.
we just created a really good experience, made it really quick and really responsive. If a customer had an issue, I mean, we'd have a tech out there in 24 to 48 hours.
When did you
And nobody
decide?
else did that.
When did you decide to sell?
So in 2000, end of 2019, beginning of 2020, I was working with the company and doing sub work for them. They were out of working in some other states. And this is actually what gave me the idea of how I found my purchase. So I didn't use a broker either. I'm kind of unique. I didn't use a sales broker. I actually just worked my network. And that's kind of one of my superpowers is LinkedIn, networking, and just opening doors and building those relationships, whether they're going to get you anything or whether you can give anything yet. Just like we're talking about, Travis, I mean, you connecting, like, dude, you were a good dude. And so I remember just Travis, good dude, hard worker, guy I really want to know. And we've stayed in touch.
Yeah. Yeah.
But a company I was installing for, I actually made a joke. I was like, yeah, if you guys want to buy us, you guys can just launch California. And so we started talking about a purchase in beginning of 2020. And so funny enough, beginning of 2020, they looked at my financials, and I just had we were about a 15, let's see, about a $15 million company at the end of 2019. And so I was just actually using a local accountant. So he wasn't in the business. So my financials were really ugly. We were making money, but it just didn't look good. Didn't
Yeah.
look good on me. I couldn't answer a lot of questions, and they laughed at me. I mean, they basically got on a call and they were just like, dude, your financials are a mess. They're not detailed enough. Like, nobody's going to buy you. And just kind of honestly, dude, they ripped me apart for about an hour and 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And
That's
it was a
fun.
really, yeah, really uncomfortable conversation. And so I brought in a really talented controller after that. I learned my lessons. My background's not finances. And so I was selling and building, and I was doing really good at that. I was selling lots of deals and we were building those deals fast. And then I brought in a really good controller. We cleaned up the financials over the next 2 years. And honestly, it was a connection from LinkedIn. I was like, I created a sales pitch and it was really, really good. And I made up my own sales pitch of how to sell my business. And it's more of a sales strategy. And I started using that strategy, and I got 3 or 4 businesses interested in me, and then ended up selling the business to one of those companies. So
What was the wire day like for you?
so a little disappointing. it was supposed to go through at the end of the day. We missed it because some change at the very end. We signed docs a little bit late. So then I woke up to the wire day. Yeah, man, I mean, I've learned really heavily. I don't know how many founders you talk to about exits, but like post exit, man, is rough.
Yeah.
Um, it sounds funny because people are like, it's easier to talk to with people that have had an exit because they understand when you say, hey, I made a lot of money and I was super depressed afterwards.
Yeah.
It's hard to say that because they're just like, quit whining. I wish I had money.
Yeah. Right.
Um,
Right.
but it's about purpose. It's about like I wasn't running the team anymore. And it was, there was another company kind of I had a year and a half employment agreement afterwards. That was pretty rough too. Just the solar actually struggled really heavily the next 2 years.
Mm,
And I'm not the kind of guy that would be like, well, I got paid. I don't care. Like I cared about my people. I cared about the business, the
sure.
industry. Yeah, it was a little, just that day it was good to make the move and it felt really good, really secure. But my brain kind of instantly goes to like, what's next?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I mean, I had fun. Like I bought a cool car. Like that was I was like, all right, me and my wife are pretty frugal, but I'm like, I get one thing and I bought a cool car and then I ended up buying a cool truck too. But
But wait,
I'm a
what'd you
car
buy?
guy.
What'd you
So
buy?
I got a Aston Martin Vantage
All right.
and then I got a Dodge Ram TRX truck.
Oh,
So
nice. Nice.
um,
Which one do you drive more though?
I actually drive the TRX more. So
Exactly.
yeah,
Exactly.
dude, I love the truck. And again, I bought the truck through a business. So I technically say that wasn't a gift. The Vantage I paid personally, but
Yeah.
yeah, the Vantage is really fast. Really, really cool car. And um I think the wire dam, you just opened doors for me. Like I now run, instead of running one business, I run four businesses.
Yeah.
Uh and it's just really opened that door for me.
So talk to me about the other businesses. What did you immediately get back into?
Yeah, so I own a pest control business.
Full circle
Which
moment.
Yeah, yeah, full circle. Yeah, I went back to pest control. It's the ARR. So what's interesting is when you sell a construction business, I actually got really lucky. I got 7x on my EBITDA, so my multiple of 7x on my EBITDA was really strong.
Wow.
That's not even currently happening right now. It's about 4x, but like if it's ARR, it's like 2 to 4x revenue.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, I got to start building companies that just have better valuations, that are easier to run, less risk, less employees, less people driving around in trucks. Um, so I like the ARR with that, but that actually spurred me. I'm like, I can only sell people in Sacramento. I can't afford to go launch trucks in 20 different cities and set buildings up. And so we actually launched another company just recently called Buggy.com. And what Buggy it's a DIY kit. Can I actually show it on here? Do you care?
Yeah, yeah, sure.
Okay. I just got a box sitting here. That's the only reason. So we have this basically this kit. So it's a DIY buggy kit. So when it comes out, it's basically like you get like gloves and a sprayer, like the product, professional grade product that comes with it, and
Nice.
like your little bag and your sprayer that come like in this whole kit. Anyways, so we launched that because now we can market nationwide. And so anybody that wants to spray their own home, we just launched actually online marketing yesterday and just launched the business at the end of the year. So
Nice,
we
man.
own Buggy, and then I got into golf. We're building out like a retail golf simulator, like subscription. So we put in like 4 golf simulators in a retail space. People pay a membership fee and go there, if it's hot, if it's snowing, whatever it is, if they just want to practice. And so we launched that in Dallas, Texas, and we got 3 locations. About to launch our first one, and then we're building on the other 2. And then just at the end of the year, we closed on a golf course here in Northern California. So me and an investment group bought a golf course. So
How's that been?
I mean, it's kind of cool because it's a 6 month golf course. So it's not busy right now. It's open May through October. It's
Okay.
a beautiful mountain golf course. I'll have to, I need to get your number, dude. Funny thing is, we actually don't, I don't know if we still have each other's number. I need to get your number. I'll text you the link.
Yeah.
Beautiful mountain golf course. They're ranked number 9 in California. And that was interesting too. We bought a golf course and I was shocked how cheap it was. So
Mm.
that sounds kind of funny, but I was shocked how inexpensive it was. It's 410 acres, a beautiful clubhouse, beautiful lake house restaurant, and about a 10,000 square foot maintenance building. And I mean, I paid what you'd pay for like a small Bay Area house. And
Where in NorCal is it?
so it's in Portola, California.
Portola.
It's
Okay.
called Grizzly Ranch Golf Course. Um,
I gotta
and
come
it's
out
just
sometime, bro.
Dude, yeah, we bought a cabin up there. So we got a cabin. Come up, dude. Come stay. Do you golf?
Well, I mean, I pretend to golf. I drink and hit the ball sometimes. You know what I mean?
That's pretty much half of golf. I mean, I'm not much better, but I figure I own a golf course. I got to start getting a little better. I'm actually leaving on a golf trip tomorrow to Arizona. But yeah, so that's it. I own two golf businesses and two pest businesses. Almost everything, my three businesses, it's all subscription based. It's all reoccurring revenue.
Yeah.
And that's really it. We just want to build. I got time. So if those businesses build slow or they build fast, I'm happy either way. And I plan on having, and honestly, my goal is to have another two or three exits, um, and then start consulting on specifically on mergers and acquisitions.
I was gonna
So
say, when's the podcast coming out, bro?
that dude, we'll talk. That's I want to find out from you. I want to as I go through these businesses and exit.
Yeah.
I want to I want to move over to the consulting, more content creation style of business, and less on the ground floor execution.
Yeah.
But yeah, so just like you said though, so Buggy, we actually part of the reason we launched Buggy too is typically in pest, salesmen have to come to where the office is and the trucks are. But I can literally have anybody sell pest control, the DIY kits for Buggy anywhere in any state, anytime of the year, and they shoot in the order. I process it, I ship it out next day. It arrives in 1 to 2 business days.
That's great, dude.
And so like we can get salesmen, we can get affiliates, we can get and obviously we're doing online digital marketing
Yeah.
campaigns, and so it's going to grow, man. We're excited, and that one's going to be, I think, one of our big ones.
Yeah. Stoked for you, man. Stoked to see where it goes. You've clearly done a really good job at figuring out what it is that you're really good at and doing that to like the best way that you can.
Yeah.
And then piecing together the other pieces. If I'm weak in this area, I hire somebody to do that thing. You don't get too lost in the sauce and think that you got to be the finance expert and you got to be the HR expert and you got to be the recruiting expert and you got to be this person expert. It's like, look, I do these one or two things extremely well. And now I can, grow based on these things, and then I can hire other people to do the things that I'm not good at, or that I don't want to
Yeah.
do, or that don't fit within my, hourly wage description. You know what I mean? Like, so being ruthless with those types of like time decisions is something
Yeah.
that you've
Well,
obviously
you
done a
just
really good job at.
like you said, you just scale at what you're really good at. Like there's some things I'm really bad at, and I don't have the time to go fix all the things I'm really bad at. It's
Right.
better for me to bring on talent that has those skill sets and can build off that. And again, I learned that quickly on the finance side. Like the business was actually in an okay spot, in a good spot. Just the story you tell has to match the financials, and we ended up doing that when we brought on a really talented controller and built out our finance team. And we did it after the business was already doing 15 million, but I don't suggest doing that. But we live and we learn. So
Talk to me about the personal finance side during all of this. Like, do you have an investment strategy? Do you take a percentage of income? Like, where are you putting money? Do you put in real
yeah,
estate
good
or in the
question.
markets or crypto or what?
So first off, in my first business for Green Day Power, I was all in. So in 2019, I put in the reason why we couldn't make payrolls. I had already leveraged every penny I had in my savings,
Hmm.
and so on my first business, I took full risk. I went all in, and so when I sold the business, um, I was probably back to a spot where maybe I probably had maybe 100 grand in my bank account. Maybe not even that. I might have built it back up, but I had probably 50 to 100 grand built back up. Um, and that was it. I wasn't paying myself very well. And so the transaction was huge because it was, low 8-figure transaction, and it just changed my life financially. And so, yeah, I mean, I do tell people that is like, if you're going to do it, do it. I mean, you can always go fall back and go get another job. You can always go sell somewhere else. You can always, you can always go do that. And so I went all in on the business. And so after that, yeah, my investment strategy, we have I have a company I work with that we're pretty diversified. So we invest in some specific large scale real estate. We do like it's a private equity actual fund that we invest in. It's kind of a private group I work with.
Okay.
I don't have a lot of stuff just sitting in the stock market, like, or sitting through a standard just brokerage company. It's all pretty specific. And then I own 3 properties, 3 residential properties, my commercial property. I mean, the best appreciating asset I've ever had is this building that I'm in right now.
Hmm.
I bought it for 2 million and it's worth about 4. And I took a loan on it, so I owe 1.4 on it.
Yeah.
So and I bought it in 2019, so it's appreciated like 400,000 a year.
Yeah.
Um, and then, yeah, and then my businesses, I think the other thing too is a lot of people, when this is more of a warning, if you exit, take a large portion of your money and invest it in like, more wealth preservation type
Mm.
investments, and set that aside, because a lot of people take what they make and then they make bigger gambles and bets. And so I have a certain amount of what I got from that deal that I will never touch.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
care if somebody comes and says I have the best business ever. I'm just not going to touch it. But I have other cash that I can leverage for businesses.
Yeah.
And but a lot of people just like, you're like high on it. You're like, dude, I can't lose. And you can definitely lose. I've already lost. I've had other businesses I've tried out, and they haven't succeeded.
Yep.
Uh,
Yep.
and while I was building Green Day, one of those was when I was building Green Day, and then another one was just recently. But yeah, like, just make sure you don't take all your cash. Like, you can leverage other people's money. You can leverage lines of credit through the business. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Love it, dude. Thanks for joining me on the show today, Seth. Where can people go to get a little bit more from you?
that is a good question. I don't I don't put much on social media. My goal. I always joke I want to be the secret millionaire that nobody knows about. Right now I'm the secret millionaire, but not not billion yet. Yeah, man, I don't post much content. I mean, I think the business we're gonna start posting a lot of content is buggy.com.
Okay.
I mean, I have a Facebook page, dude. I honestly I don't even know if I have an Instagram page, TikTok or Twitter anymore. Um, but I'm gonna be moving that direction, man. Like, I've been realizing, like, I talked to a buddy the other day, and he's like, you got to start giving more too. And I recognize that me holding back is me not sharing what I've learned, me not, you know, giving more to the world and to other people that need to hear what I have to say. And it's a little bit of imposter syndrome after doing this. Like, I still don't think I'm the guy that people should listen to.
Yeah.
Um,
Which probably
and
means that you are the guy that people should listen to. Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah.
But that's always been me, man. I still look at and see myself as the same person. I don't have like I'm not the guy that just it gave me just masses a level of confidence where I just think I'm the man and everybody should listen to me. I'm still we're pretty humble family, and yeah, I need to put more out there though. So that's a
So,
goal.
so for now, you can go check out Seth Devey on Facebook.
Yeah, that's about it right now.
Yeah, yeah, but look out on the horizon because I have a
Yes,
feeling that Seth's going to be
absolutely.
doing a lot more stuff.
Yeah, I'll talk to Travis. Travis, you'll
Yeah,
get
yeah.
me going, buddy. You'll point me in the right direction here.
All right, dude. I appreciate you coming on. Everybody else
Yeah,
listening, tuning in. Remember, money only solves your money problems, but it's a little bit easier to solve all your other problems with some money in the bank. So let's solve that problem first here on the Travis Makes Money podcast. Thanks for tuning in. Catch you next time. Peace out.